Power Lagoon.
Hello, I'm going to go over some of the winter projects I'm working on for my sailboat, and some of these I've gone over before. I think I've mentioned that I was trying to make a cooler. This is the one that I think I've showed in my videos. And my boat goes underneath the stairs coming into the cabin, and the only thing about it's really good for, I said, what I paid for it worked pretty good, you know, for an overnight 2 or 3 day, you know, maybe 2-night sail. It held ice pretty good, but as you can see, it's not like, you know, I think it's like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, no more than 3/4 inches of insulation. And there is spray foam in the sides and the bottom, but the top is just hollow. So I wanted to make a Yeti. I know I'd like to go buy a Yeti cooler. Problem is, where I want to put it, where this goes, they're either too small or they're too big. So I decided to make my own, and cost-wise, well, I know it didn't cost $300, but probably when you look at the foam, epoxy, and fiberglass, I don't think I'm even going to be at $100. So I'm still considering it a deal because it fits right where I wanted to, you know, where it needs to be, and about the size that I need. So I have some other videos where I go over the construction, but this pretty much, I just kind of threw these together. I have 1 inch of foam, and there's 3/8 piece of foam, another inch of foam, and on each side of this 3/8 I spray mounted heavy duty aluminum foil, so that's sandwiched in between, and that goes for the sides and the bottom, and the top has 3 layers of the 1 inch foam, and there is a strip of, I think, 1 strip of aluminum that's between this layer and the second one. There's no aluminum in the 3 layers. I didn't slip any aluminum between the layers of the lid when I put it together. Why? I don't know. I guess I just forgot. But I could have done that, I guess. So this is the lid. This is all glassed up. I just has to be sanded and then, you know, re-epoxied to make it smooth. I have to wrap. The top has 4 layers on it, so I have to wrap this edge all the way around, and it fits. There's a little bit of play, which is about what I was figuring. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to epoxy in a loop here and a loop here, and I'm going to run a continuous bungee line. Will come over, and one line is going to come on this side, and I'm going to make little clips out of epoxy that I'll connect in the front. So each bungee line will come over and it'll clip on, and that's what's going to apply pressure down, keep the lid on solid. And I don't have a lot of room above of it when I lift it, but I think for a lot of stuff, I'm hoping just to be able to lift it up, just like even this one, same thing. A lot of times you can just lift up and reach in. It's probably is the one thing in this, you couldn't take the lid off the way it's set up, so you'd have to pull it out to really get in there. Where this, I'll be able to slide the lid off to the side and take it off. And Look on the inside, it's a little bit over. It's a 1.63 cubic feet inside, and figuring when you put the ice in there, or a frozen milk jug, or the refrigeration unit, I'll wind up with about 1.5 feet of space in there. There's my figuring on the sidewall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rubber gasket here and up here. So there'll be 2 gaskets that go around the edge, and there won't be a gasket on the top edge, just these 2 lower ones. So I just have, this side needs to be glassed, and this side, all the rest of it in the bottom is done. And once I get these on, I did a little bit of sanding, just get rid of the sharp spots. I still found one. And the whole thing, I'll get my palm sander out and palm sand it all out, and then I'm gonna probably just roll on 2 coats of epoxy. So so that's the one winter project that was trying to get done. And actually this was started last year, and then it just set off to the side. Okay, to show you how I'm doing the bevels. I'm basically just cutting, it's 1-inch foam, cutting into 1-inch blocks, and then it's not safe, but I'm using the knife freehand, and I'm cutting that. I need to get me a stand. If I can get that in there, I'm coming down like a diamond and cutting that, and I realized that was too big, so then I'm coming down and cutting that again. So I'm cutting this block in half, and then I'm cutting them in half again, and that's what I'm using for the bevels for the inside of the refrigerator icebox, refrigerator box. So I get all my bevels tabbed in. That'll be in the interior. This section is all going to get fiberglass. So that's the interior of the ice refrigerator box. It's going to get fiberglass. And now I get pre-installed the bottom 3/8 with 2 things of aluminum. And now I'm putting the top piece on. So I'm just kind of going to do some silicone. The aluminum is spray mounted. I originally just had it folded on, but this time I came through and I spray mounted it on each side. It's a little bit thinner that way, and it looks neater. And this I'm just going to spread out. Get that to go. And I got a little piece of foam I just used before to spread it out a little bit, so it's not really clumpy. I just need it to hold together. It's not really thinking too much structure, but I know it'll be a lot easier if it's not coming off. One thing is, I think I saved a few buck or two buying white silicone. I think if I did it again, I would have spent the money and bought clear, because you have to worry about what you get the white on, because it can make a mess. Put another little bead more on the edge. Okay. Let's see. And I labeled it, so I know that's the bottom. That's the top. And hopefully, I don't remember what side goes what. When it's going this way. Well, it's the way it's going now. So, let's hope I didn't muff that up. If not, it could still be trimmed anyway. And then, after I get all the 3/8 with aluminum on it, then it gets a whole nother layer of the 1-inch screen board. It's going to go on the outside, and then I just have to put together the top, which I'm still kind of designing how it's going to be a pop top. It's going to come out. It's not going to be the full top. It's only going to be a part of it, so I'm still sketching that out. But it's enough that I can get a full gallon of milk sideways and in there. That's pretty much going to be what my size thing is, and I also got to be able to get the mock-up for the condenser in there. So it's got to be big enough hole to get that in. That's for sure. So if I have to replace it for any reason. So right now I'm figuring for an icebox, but it may become a refrigerator if I decide to buy the refrigeration unit. If I want to spend $700. So making progress on it. Okay, so I got a third coat of glass inside, another coat of epoxy all around. I don't know, we'll see. I may come in and sand one more time after this hardens, because I did add a little more epoxy after I set the third layer in the bottom, but I think I will probably most likely come in and sand it again and hit it down and try to smooth it out a little bit more, but no one's really going to see it. It doesn't need to be pretty, it needs to be effective. I did come in, instead of cutting new, I made the hole smaller, so it's 8 by 10 now instead of 10 by 10, the main hole. So now this has all been glassed around, and once this all hardens, I will be wrapping the glass from the sidewalls around the bevel there, then onto the bottom of the top. And this will be, before that happens, this is going to get, I'm going to put a bunch of silicone around that top edge, and this will get set in, the top will get set in into that groove like so, and then I'll do the glass work after that sets and hardened. This is all going to be sanded one more time, and this will get another coat of at least epoxy on it after this hardens and dries. And then, so that's the first layer goes in. Here's the second one goes in. The only thing I messed up, I didn't sand and bevel the edge a little bit. These need to be finished some more. So I just decided, since I fiberglassed that piece, that I added in to make the hole smaller before I sanded it. So now I have to wait till it dries because it's all wet. And then the top piece, I just siliconed that additional 2 inches in. It's all beveled. When that dries, I'll run some cloth and fiberglass across that joint to help connect that on the top and bottom. And then these are going to get, this joint gets fiberglass as the layers go in. It's going to go in, go down, go in, go down, go in, go down. The first one is the only one that I have to wrap from the inside. So that was the pain one that is done now. So while these dry, it's pretty much where I'm at. And then they're the pieces for the lid, but they all have to be cut down to the 8 by 10, and then everything gets an inch added. So I have to subtract an inch as I go from all those, and then they have to be beveled. They'll get epoxy together as the lid, so it's going to come out as one unit. And then I'm just going to do tabs in the back. No, this is the back actually. Do tabs in the back that I'm going to do a bungee cord with a knot. And the bungee is going to come over, and there's going to be 2 clips. I'm going to make fiberglass clips, or I could screw on stainless steel clips that bungees will come on. So there'll just be 2 bungees coming across the top that hold the lid on. All I gotta do is unclip them from the front, release them, and pop the top off. So, and I don't think I'm gonna add any white paint on the inside. I'll just leave that clear the way it is. On the outside, after I fiberglass the exterior and gel coat it, I'll paint it. I have some white fiberglass paint. I'll paint it all up white. So it'll look good from the inside, but inside I'm not gonna waste. Outside, I'm not going to waste time on the inside. So that's the icebox. It's coming along, homemade. I forget how long. Ice lasted for like 3 days when it was in it, and that was before the lid and everything was made, and it wasn't fiberglass. So I'm hoping it's going to do even better. And I'm definitely hoping to get the refrigeration unit. So that'll make my life much simpler too. So okay, so I've added a third coat under the outside. Here's the main hole, and this is the first 1 inch of the top layer, and there's the other 2 layers there, and you can just see kind of have roughly the hatch done, but I'm realizing I'm not going to glass the hatch until I have these other 2 sections in, like so, and them glassed, because I'm figuring I'm going to be doing at least 2 layers of glass on them, and I'm probably going to have to shave that off, because this is going to get thickened up, even though that fits pretty, the lid fits loose now. But once I add glass, I'm probably going to have to shave more off. So this is all glassed from the inside around. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably dark. So the boxes sit. It's a little more than 1.5 cubic feet of volume. Coming along. there's three layers of squares on the corner, each corner, figuring that's a critical spot, it's going to get smacked. Then I came along, I was going to do 3 layers on these edges and just do 2 sides and then come back and do the other sides. And I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to go on, I'm just going to do 2 layers. The corners are beefed up, and after these harden up, we'll see how strong it is and then whether or not I need a 3rd layer. Bottom's probably going to get more abuse, so there's a good chance I'm going to come along and put the 3rd layer on. But I actually have 2. I didn't really have the strips done, so I'm going to see, because I want to make the box heavier than it needs to be. I was more concerned about the inside being structurally strong, so just come in and wet it out, and I'm just using a brush. I just kind of use a brush this way, tap it in like that. I don't have a roller, and I know I'm doing it lefty because I have the camera in my right hand, so my left hand's not too good at this, but that's pretty much how I wet it out. Just kind of tack it down, make sure it's really wet out real good. And usually as this is drying out, I try to keep the brush around. And I got some issues because I got silicone on these joints, and I don't know how well it's going to connect to that, so I know this side here especially I'm worried about. But that's the bottom edge. Hopefully 2 layers is going to be good with the corners reinforced. And then these fields, I don't know, it may be, it's just so much easier to wet out the fabric instead of the mat. So, and it uses a lot less epoxy using the cloth compared to the mat. So, I don't, even though I have a bunch of mat, I really don't want to deal with it. I don't want to spend the money on the fiberglass. So, I don't know, we'll see. So hopefully I won't have to add another layer, but on the sides I think I'll be okay with 2 layers, but the bottoms, I know once it goes in position, it's really not going to get moved out. Once this box goes in, it's going to goes into the boat, it's going to be a somewhat permanent location. I'm going to be taking the food to the boat in a cooler and transferring into the box there. So the box is going to stay there. I'm not going to be carrying the box in and out. Like I said, it's somewhat permanent in the boat from now on. So that's the progress so far.